Devika Chopra. A first-year student at Gujarat's GMERS college, Anil Methaniya, has died after being forced to stand for 3 hours as a part of a ragging session by senior students. The victim collapsed and was rushed to the hospital, where he was declared dead. The victim's family is now demanding strict action to prevent similar incidents from occurring in the near future. An FIR has been filed against 15 students of the medical college, all of whom belong to the second-year MBBS program. The FIR reveals that the freshers were subjected to mental and physical torture. They were forced to sing and dance, utter abusive words and not leave their positions. The college's anti-ragging committee has taken statements from 26 students, including 11 freshers and 15 second-year students. Accused students have been booked under the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita sections for culpable homicide, not amounting to murder, wrongful confinement, unlawful assembly and using obscene words. This and the other 800 incidents of ragging are unfortunate and require an immediate assessment on what goes on college campuses. How can we tackle ragging? I take this conversation forward. I have with me Dr. MC Mishra, former director of AIMS. We have with us Advocate Anubha Srivastav Sahai, President of India White Parents Association, Dr. PSV Rao, surgeon, and Dr. Kapil Kakkar, psychologist, with us on the broadcast. I want to begin this conversation with Dr. MC Mishra. Dr. Mishra, when you first read the details of this case, did something seem a little fishy when they say that a student, a young boy, has died simply because he was made to stand for 3 hours?
Thank you so much for keeping this discussion. It's a serious matter. Somebody has lost his son, young son. These days people have only 1 or 2 children, and this is most unfortunate and unforgiving if there has been any lapse on the part of the college administration or the boys who were involved, and if this led to his demise. Although as you rightly said, that we do remain standing for a long time when we perform operations, 9 hours, 10 hours, 6 hours, 5 hours. So just standing, why should it kill someone? That is a moot point. I think the post-mortem will give the details, what was the cause of death. But it is most unfortunate, and we are still not able to maintain zero tolerance for ragging on our campuses. So this has to be taken very, very seriously by NMC, by colleges, institutions, and there shouldn't be any pardon for such students who indulge in ragging in this manner. Introduction is something different, that you, in a lighter note, you get introduction, give your introduction, but somebody getting killed is unforgiving. It's unfortunate and unforgiving, and I think if somebody is found guilty or this led to his death, I think that should be taken up very, very seriously.
Right, absolutely. I want to bring in Dr. PSV Rao into the conversation as well. Dr. PSV Rao, I want to again understand from you, sir, when they say that a person has died simply from standing, is that the college or the hospital then trying to perhaps begin a cover-up operation already? Because it does seem rather fishy that someone would die from standing for 3 hours. It seems as though all details are really not being shared about what the true extent of the ragging was.
Good evening, Devika, the panelists and viewers. I fully agree with what Dr. Mishra has said just now. Just standing for a prolonged period of time can cause what is called as a vasovagal reflex, and the person may just faint and fall, but the person was not going to die. And I, like Dr. Mishra, I am also a surgeon. We stand for hours together, doesn't mean that we die of standing. This may be a cover-up, this may be a different reason, either ragging or for some other reason he has died. And the news report says that he did give some kind of statement to the police before he died. So, like Dr. Mishra said, we'll have to wait for the autopsy to know what was the cause of the death, and if any other something far more worse than just asking a person to stand led to this death. And as to ragging, it is a lot of this ragging deteriorates down to not just mental agony, it also leads to a lot of physical agony. So this kind of is a torture or physical and mental abuse leads to a lot of problems for youngsters, especially those who have never been in a hostel and who are newly joining from after a stay at home suddenly into a hostel, where they may if they receive a very hostile reception, then it can lead to major tragedies not only of death but of prolonged mental agony and depression, etc. And physical abuse can lead to injuries, disabilities, and this has been happening in the past, and this is exactly why there have been a lot of measures taken to try and stop this practice.
Yes.
And it's very sad. That's all. And my sympathies are with the parents of this youngster who has lost his life.
Advocate Anupam Srivastava, bringing you into the conversation here, I want to understand from your perspective, why is it that ragging and sensitization towards it is perhaps not taken seriously, or that there continues to be this culture where somewhere people are just getting some sort of bizarre thrill out of watching someone or out of terrorizing someone for hours on end. It's one thing, as the doctors also pointed out, that okay, a new class comes in and you want to just have some fun and you want to mingle and mix up, and you just want to introduce one another, play some fun games. But where does this temperament come from, where you get some sort of bizarre pleasure out of just really torturing kids? And this is not just in medical colleges that it's happening, we see it in engineering colleges as well.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show, and very important discussion, and a really very tragic incident, very shocking, and I really feel that the government they have already taken cognizance of this matter and they have arrested all those 15 students. But yes, at the same time, we have the act in place, we have the guidelines in place, pan India. Now, anti-ragging committees are being constituted in most of the colleges. In this college also, I got to know that a committee was in place. But at the same time, what I feel is that awareness is very important, because maybe many students may not be aware what are the repercussions if
yes,
they are going to take.
But Advocate Sahai, when you say committees are being constituted, the problem is that that's post facto. And that's of course just a cultural thing in India, that once the crime has taken place, then we'll have a committee. So how do we?
I'm not talking about the committee which is being set up after the crime has taken place. I'm talking about the committee in the school itself, in the college itself, the anti-ragging committee. Every college must have an anti-ragging committee in their respective college, and the college also must conduct inspection. Regular inspection must be there. So I think even college administration should also be held accountable that what steps they have taken in their institute to stop such practice. Because in many institutes, I have visited several institutes and several colleges where they are very strict about ragging. And when the admission takes place, when new children take admission in any college, there are special sections being organized by some colleges and institutes. They are doing very good work as far as the awareness is concerned. I don't know about this college and any other colleges whether there is a proper awareness or not, whether the anti-ragging committee's contact number is being displayed on notice board or not, which is mandatory, so that the students can approach the committee before. And all these things are very much important, because implementation is the major problem which we face whenever any act is enacted in our country. So as far as ragging is concerned, yes, it is a very serious matter. Government has also enacted the act, anti-ragging act, but on at ground level, the implementation is not happening. That's why the students they think that no, nothing will happen. We'll just do the ragging and nobody will take action. But yes, action is must. And I am really happy that all those students have been arrested, and government must ensure, be state government or central government or local authority or the police authority, that those students must be punished and they should not be allowed at any cost to continue their education, because they will get bail easily. I'm telling you, this is the system in our country. They will get bail within few days and again they will continue their studies. So, and not only FIR should be registered, apart from that, the student should be debarred from attending the college, not only that college or from any other institute across India. They should be blacklisted. Once we start this practice, definitely our students and youth
Okay.
they will take it seriously, and all these people will stop all this practice.
Okay, I want to bring in Dr. Kapil Kakkar as well. Dr. Kapil Kakkar, what Advocate Sahai is of course talking about is a little bit of law and punishment acting as a deterrent. But I want to understand from your perspective, when we read about such cases taking place specifically in medical colleges, what does that tell you about the temperament of the students? Because the big question that flashes before me is that these are actually kids who have worked really hard, to join those medical colleges, and secondly, that anyone who wishes to be a doctor, somewhere they are doing that with the temperament of wanting to save lives eventually. So,
see, punishing students as a deterrent, I don't think it's a very, very good idea, though this thing has happened, because for me, it is the college, the administration in the college, who is responsible for such act. If you want to look into this, in 1970, the government of India had banned it. In 2001, 2006, Supreme Court also had given its observations about ragging, and ragging is kind of banned with all the guidelines, etc. in place in our country. But the question is, who is to implement them? Yes, and in every college you will have several black sheep. The question is the college aware about the black sheep? What is the college trying to do? What is the administration trying to do? Are they trying to, is the college monitoring what is mild ragging and what is severe ragging? In this particular case also, we do not know what was the physical well-being of this child before he was asked to stand. Before he was asked to stand for 3 hours. Was he mentally, physically fit or not? Or was he, even before this, was he ragged before this, or was he being ragged for last 2 days? Because I think children have this awareness, and for me, even if we are trying to today pin the blame on these 7 students, but if you look at it, to my mind also, like the good doctors had also said, no student would have thought in 3 hours of standing, somebody would lose his life. So the question here is that the children, now we really don't know whether it was a mild or a severe ragging, but from what I can understand is just standing for 3 hours, and so one more thing, when the admission is taken in the college, the medical certificate is taken by the college. For me, the consistent this medical examination of children, especially the freshers, should happen at least for 1 month till the time this phenomenon of ragging is over. So my point is, unless and until there is constant monitoring of, because like you rightly said, these 7 children who are now being arrested, even if they are rusticated or if they are put behind bars, we are also losing another 7 valuable lives who were in medical colleges. I'll give you another example. In fact, this is a research which happened in 2011 in a medical college in Andhra Pradesh, where 245 medical students of semester 5 and 7 were interviewed and were researched on, and they were asked this, that is ragging bad, right? Should there be a stop on ragging? And 99% of them had said, we are okay with ragging till the time ragging does not become severe. If you look
No,
at
but that's a very thin line and very subjective, right? What is mild ragging for someone versus severe ragging for another person? I want to bring back Dr. P.S.V. Rao. Dr. P.S.V. Rao, I want to understand same question from your perspective, sir, that what does that really tell you about the temperament of some of these students? Because like I said, ultimately when you want to become a doctor, somewhere it is with the belief that one day you will be saving lives. So, what really pushes you during your time in the college where you would continue to indulge in an act which may or may not really harm someone?
Devika, medical colleges and other colleges also, at the time of admission, often do only intellectual tests or your knowledge tests. They don't do psychological tests. And when I joined CMC Vellore, they did psychological tests also on all of us to see if we were compatible with the kind of profession that we were joining. Now, ragging goes out of hand when you have bullies, and basically the mentality of a bully is that he is insecure. So he uses a group to take out his frustrations on someone who is alone. I mean, that's what basically happens in ragging. Is not that a group of freshers are being ragged by a group of seniors. It's invariably the freshers are caught one by one and ragged by a group. And this is basically boils down to bullying. And it can be both physical, mental, or both. And it is these kind of insecure, bullying mentality people who are not really compatible with the kind of what the medical profession requires. So I would suggest that all medical colleges should also have psychological tests and to see if someone is compatible with the job he's taking up. You can't have insecure bullying kind of people who will do all this. And we don't want a bad name for our profession, because if misfits join the medical profession and then later on continue behaving like this brings a bad reputation to the whole profession.
Yes.
So I fully agree with this, that there should be psychological tests also, not just how many marks you get or how well you do in your entrance exam.
Dr. MC Mishra, would you agree with that suggestion? The reason why I asked that is that today, yes, that these are medical students and they may not even face any harsh punishment, because as we've seen in the FIR, it's culpable homicide not amounting to murder. So even the authorities feel that it's not a case of murder, that what the students were doing, perhaps they didn't realize the consequences of that. But do you feel that it should be now necessary to hold some sort of a psychological evaluation at the beginning itself and at important intervals in the lives of doctors? Because the reason why I'm asking that is just a few months back, I got a call from someone who was seeking help, saying that their friends who are studying right now in medical colleges are really being bullied and harassed by their supervisors. So these are all doctors who are not college level students, but they're junior level doctors who continue somewhere to bully and harass through the course of their lives then, because they go unchecked perhaps at in the beginning itself.
Yes, Devika, I agree with Dr. P.S.V. Rao for such a step, that psychological evaluation, but then currently we are digressing from the death of this child following something which has happened. We don't know the ragging, or he had pre-existing illness, or what exactly happened to him. I agree with Venkatesh on psychological test or examination of most students or all the students, but is that practical? Vellore had 50 intake, so maybe they could have done that on Venkatesh. But nowadays there are 250 students coming into medical school. So how long, what duration do we have that kind of a support of clinical psychologist or psychiatrist So it's a whole lot of practical issues also.
Yes, but Dr. Mishra, then what would you suggest? What would be a practical intervention?
Yeah, what we follow at AIMS, when I was there, we make a committee which does emergency and surprise checks in the hostels in middle of night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., because that is the time these things are done. So I think that is one step which can be taken by most medical college, engineering colleges, that where this ragging is taking place in somebody's room, basically, or they go on the rooftop. So all these places are known in particular institution. And I was ragged when I got admission. I didn't like it, but I underwent that. So this is, nobody likes it. People say, no, it's a introduction. Introduction can be done in many other ways. So unless we take this very seriously, particularly in such cases where people have committed suicides following ragging, and there was a case in Shimla some time ago. So like Dr. Venkatesh, what he is saying, that there are students who are vulnerable for this, because I was also 18 when I went to the medical school. And we have gone for the first time in the hostel. We are missing our parents, we are missing our home, and on top of it there is ragging. So we cannot distinguish, like we say, good terrorism and bad terrorism. That doesn't happen. Ragging is bad, it should not happen, and institutions have to place safeguards, maybe CCTV cameras, more CCTV cameras on the campus and in the hostels during that ragging time, because ultimately we have to, it has come down significantly over last 10 years, but once we hear such an incident, naturally these things are not, enough things are not done. So I think if possible, it's ideal to have a psychological test, but will that bring out everything? That's a moot point. What I would say, that at least there should be some message to most institutions that if you indulge in such a thing, you are not going scot-free, you will be punished. Whether you are also 18 or you are 23, you will be punished, whether for 6 months rustication or 1 year rustication, or you are not allowed, and or your tenure is extended of your education. Some punishment, substantial punishment need to be there. Then only it will deter people, like was mentioned by Avika. I think unless we do that, we have to take this very, very seriously. In India, we have the tendency of not taking things seriously, whether it's a traffic violation which kills someone, or the ragging like thing which is totally preventable. I think that this is where we are, that we should be serious about any violation, whether it's a traffic rule, it's a ragging in an institution. We cannot allow this to continue.
Okay, I leave the last word with Dr. P.S.V. Rao. Dr. P.S.V. Rao, do you feel that somewhere stricter action then needs to be taken when such cases are at least found out, so that somewhere perhaps law and justice can act as a deterrent and dissuade students from indulging in such behavior?
Obviously, Devika, I fully agree with what you are trying to say. We can't afford to have this kind of severe, mild, whatever is. If you are going to get young people who come out of their homes into hostel and go put through various kinds of mental and physical torture, definitely we have to take strict action so that there is a fear that action will be taken. What Dr. Mishra was saying about even other things like traffic violations, etc., there is no fear of action. This is why in India we have got a lot of these events happening. We have to be very strict. Action should be such that there is fear that if we violate the rules and regulations and we torture youngsters, we will have severe repercussions to our own career. That is the only thing that will prevent this. And prevention is always better than cure. You have a dead person now, you can't bring him back to life. We should prevent it so that no one else is mentally or physically maimed.
Right. Dr. Kapil Kakkar wants to make a point.
See, for me, as far as you're talking about deterrent, it is already in place. Children are aware of it, and ragging has been controlled. Now, the question is, you had a very pertinent question: what should be done next? Besides the psychological assessment, which can be used as a tool, but it is a temporary tool because the situation, circumstances, etc., a child's life keep changing. So, but yes, to my mind, what can be a solution is for at least 2 to 3 months initially, when the college starts, when a new session starts, this ragging, there should be a ragging committee which should be outsourced. Outsourced in the sense that there should be some institute which is regularly 24/7 in the college, monitoring the college, because children are very smart today. Even they know where the CCTV cameras is, they know where the ragging can happen, so they know everything. Once you have some people in place in every college, at least for first 2 months, that is when the students also get alert and they understand that this is a serious issue, and they need to be as mild as they can be, rather trying to be severe in their ragging sense. So for me, a college cannot do it on its own, because a college has a lot of other responsibilities with them. They are not only looking after first year students, but the question is, can they outsource it to some entity whose job is for at least 1.5 months to 24/7, just monitor the ragging in the college, be it day, be it night, be it evening time. And I think that is when you might get some relief, because deterrence is already there in India. Deterrence laws are in place now. The question is, still they are not being implemented. For me, the college is understaffed. You can't expect a college to be looking after 1,000 or 1,500 students, what they are doing, what is happening in their life. So I think for ragging, something like some step like this should take place.
Okay, all right. I've completely run out of time, but I thank all of our guests for joining us to give us their thoughts on this tragedy that has occurred in Gujarat. On that note, viewers, a very short break.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.